Angstrom Levy is one of, if not my favorite Invincible villain of all time. That says a lot, because Invincible's got a lot of good villains. I'll be doing a character analysis of him today in celebration of the finale for Season 2, which I thought was done amazingly, but I'm still more of a fan of the comic book. I will get into the comic spoilers, but that will be later, and I will give a spoiler warning when that comes. Spoiler alert, that doesn't happen in this video, but I will get into Angstrom first came about in Season 2, or about issue 16 or 14 in the comic. He was given the power to travel dimensions when he was born. He gathered all his other dimensional selves so he can gather knowledge from the dimensions to help out our own. He wanted to create a utopia. He breaks the Marlowe twins out of jail, which already reveals that he's willing to help villains out for greater good, something that will come into play later on. He also threats to keep the Marlowe twins in an empty desert forever, which I think comes into my first point. I believe Angstrom Levy always had a little bit of villainous side to him. That throughout the dimensional variants of him, evil is deep inside. I'm not saying he was like Omni-Man or something, but I think that there was a little bit of evil in him. So when the machine goes wrong and they all go in one body, it puts all like the evil he had stored up, the little bits, deep inside of one. Now, I'm not saying I'm not saying his suit like he was mustache twirling evil, but I think he had some built bad stuff. I think he's willing to do some bad things. But anyways, the Marlowe twins help him build his machine. He's about to build his utopia, and everything is swell till Mark shows up to destroy whatever the Marlowe twins are up to. Mark ends up getting beaten pretty bad by the Marlowe twins and is about to die, all while Angstrom is screaming, pleading for them to stop. He says one of my favorite lines from him.
I won't build my utopia with blood.
This shows that Angstrom didn't want Mark to die. This is why I believe after the accident happens and the whole machine explodes, that Angstrom turns evil after this point. Angstrom Levy vows to kill Invincible after this point. We don't see Angstrom for a while. The comic and show pretty much have no changes between the two so far. But after this, one of my favorite fights in Invincible, the show and comic are pretty different. So I'm going to be comparing the two. But before that, let me give you a summary. So Mark is with Amber and Eve in Africa, at least in the comic, when he gets a phone call from his mom and he flies home. He reaches his home and sees Angstrom Levy with his mom and little brother Oliver. Invincible is furious, but Angstrom Levy sends him through multiple dimensions, including Spider-Man, The Walking Dead, and some dinosaur dimension. Angstrom Levy Angstrom says that he won't hurt his parents as long as he can give up and let Mark die. Mark ends up tackling Angstrom after Angstrom had messed up his mom pretty bad. Invincible starts screaming at Angstrom, throwing him around in through different universes until they end up in a desert universe. Mark, he beats Angstrom pretty bad, brutally, to death. Now in this fight, Angstrom reveals that he had the technicians, which are people from another universe, to fix him and put him back together and making him stronger. This is where the famous line, "I thought you were stronger," comes in. After this is comic spoilers, which is the Invincible War, but Angstrom went into another portal to the technicians, and they rebuilt him again. Now he has these little droid camera things, and they start spying on Mark. Eventually, Mark finds them, but can't do much since they blow up each time he touches them. One day, Angstrom unleashes a bunch of alternative versions of Invincible for different universes to cause chaos throughout the universe or world. Now, we see Angstrom planning this out for a while to ruin Mark's reputation, and it works. Only with the public, though. These marks lay waste to the world in an event known as the Invincible War that I need to get into later, but they really just destroy everything. They killed Lex. After some fighting, Angstrom sends all of the Invincible variants to another dimension after they tried to revolt against him. He sent them to a desert dimension, is what I'm basically calling Dune, but with no cool blue-eyed people, and it's an endless wasteland. Mark tries to defeat Angstrom again, but only manages to grab his arm after Angstrom escapes through another portal. This actually literally cuts off Angstrom's arm. Angstrom demands the technicians help him again, but they turn on him, saying if they want their help, they're going to start making some commands. This is the last time we say Angstrom for a while, and I gotta admit, I don't like the path they go down with this character. Anyways, when Mark is fighting dinosaurs, another character I'm dying to talk about, Angstrom appears with a new robot arm. And during this Dinosaur fakes Invincible's death. So, Angstrom thinks that Mark is gone until he reads in the newspaper that he's back and is furious. Angstrom runs to the House of Invincible and traps Adam Eve with those drone things. And during this state, she cannot use her powers because she's pregnant, and if she uses it, it'll kill the baby or something. And so Mark finds Angstrom, and the usual, they fight for a bit. Mark gets thrown into the desert dimension with all the other Invincible variants, and he finds one of them straight up eating another version, and then that variant tries to eat Invincible. Another one comes to save him from the cannibal, and after a while, Mark comes back, and Adam, he's like, hey, he's gonna stop killing you, and he wants to start saving people. And Angstrom says something that confirms my theory that last time he said he was going to make the universe a utopia. He was going to make himself rich, basically saying there was an alternative motive to his plan, and he was always a little bit evil. And when he's about to get away scot-free, another Invincible variant flies in and throws him into another dimension. Adam is like, well, that's that. But Mark gets robot to take him to this dimension, and we see Angstrom getting tortured, like someone put that man out of his misery. And Robot does, cutting his head off. And that's that.